Howdy, howdy, folks. I was getting around and saw some red and blue, so we're stopping in for some citizen safety on this New Year's Day at 1:04 in the morning. Car 95 again. Sheriff doing a little roll by. Oh, well, he's coming on in. Howdy.
How are you tonight?
Oh, not too shabby.
Okay.
How many DUIs have you stopped tonight?
What's that?
How many DUIs have you stopped tonight?
Not so far.
None so far.
I haven't, yeah. No.
Well, I haven't seen him stop one. I've been at about 9 of his stops.
Yeah.
A lot of profit making, though. Gotta earn your keep, I guess. Any comment on the city of Newport not giving out permits for the donation taxi service? It was free, but if you wanted to donate, they were giving donations to cancer charity.
That's pretty cool.
Well, they're not giving out the permit this year.
I don't know. That's a good question for city council.
Well, just asking if you had a take on it.
Really don't have a take. I'm pretty neutral, so,
Fair enough.
yeah. That's a good question, though. I mean, city council works for the community, right?
Right.
And so that's something to bring up to them. And if the community as a whole wants that, they'll get it, right? So,
I mean, it seems like a good idea to me. Keep people from drinking and driving at the city hosted drinking event.
well, I think there are always a lot of good ideas.
Yeah.
Right. And again, it goes back to what the community as a whole wants, the community as a whole get. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if that's where you and other people who think that's a good idea, go tell the commissioners, or I mean, in this case, it'd be the city councilors.
Yeah,
"We
I'm
want
familiar."
this," and eventually, you'll get that. Right. That's the beauty of living in our society, is we're able to have.
The voice of the many
Voice.
can be heard and
So,
being taken action
Absolutely.
upon. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
the beauty of it.
so. I'm guessing the city drinking event you're referring to is probably Seafood and Wine Festival that
Yeah.
they do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I mentioned that, but I must have.
No, you said the city drinking event, and I was like, I'm guessing.
Oh, you
that's
knew what I was talking
probably-
about.
I'm guessing- I've heard other people say that, so yeah. I guess that makes sense. I know a lot of times in this day and age, a lot of government is kind of tied by liability, right? Just like
Mhm.
most businesses and individuals
Right.
hold some liability, and maybe there was an issue with one of the drivers not having insurance or something. Who knows?
Who
right?
knows,
That's
but-
where sometimes they'll make decisions
Right.
that seem
Well, it's not.
reasonable,
It
but
wasn't a
just-
new thing. It's something they have been doing for years before.
right. That's where I'm saying, like, they've had parks for years, right? But then there's people who are suing because they got hurt in the park, and therefore they're saying because there's not people there or signs warning them they can get hurt, and that costs you as a taxpayer,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So they've closed down some of the parks.
And I find that unfortunate.
I do too.
A few good signs would be a good idea, but ultimately, if you
Always.
go clambering down a rocky trail,
But that's where government organizations are always going to hold liability, right?
yeah,
Maybe-
I get you.
I don't know all the ins and outs of it. That's the city I work. in
Who
the
actually
county,
does?
so-
That's the question.
Well, I'm sure somebody does.
Somebody,
Groups
yeah.
of people do, right? So,
Right.
and that's where it's good to be an involved, informed citizen. So
Right,
that's
yeah.
where you can have all the information. It's public information, which is pretty cool, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so
If you can afford it.
well, there's always routes to it. You know what I mean? Again, going back to many, if that's a priority for more than one person or
Mhm.
multiple people, you know,
Right.
$10 split 10 ways is only $1, right? So
Well, that, and if you get into the public records request, there is actually a clause in there that they will reduce fees for news purposes.
there you go. So, I mean, sounds like you know the ins and outs pretty well, which is fortunate.
Oh no! I know enough to know I know nothing.
Well, welcome to my world. I think more people should recognize that.
He who knows he knows nothing.
I agree with that. All that to come back around and say maybe the reason that they didn't issue a permit this go around was there was a lawsuit or a threat of a lawsuit or something there maybe.
Yeah, I don't have all the details. I just know that the thing that has been going on is not going to happen again.
Yeah, I always prefer people to have sober rides.
Right. Right.
Fortunately, there are a couple of taxi services in town.
Right.
Right.
That's good for them. Yeah.
There's at least two.
Two, I think.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have like Uber and Lyft. And
we don't do that here.
You don't do that here?
Nope.
Okay. Well, do you have other people? I guess though you could go with friends and
there's options, but
you know. But donating to good charities is always a good thing too.
Right. That's something I thought was really awesome.
Maybe people will stay home and just donate to charities instead. What do you think? You think that'll happen?
Maybe a few. Maybe a few. I'm not going to be that cynical.
Yeah. You live around here, my man?
I do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You ever been to one of the city council meetings?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
I have not. I've never been to one of the Newport City Council meetings. But
do you live in Newport? You don't live in Newport. Okay.
So
okay.
They give some opportunity for you to like speak and.
Oh yeah, everyone has a minute or 3 minutes at the beginning of the meeting to bring up something that's not going to be on the agenda,
awesome.
And then at the end of the meeting you have 3 minutes to bring up something that was on the agenda. So, and then usually there's times in between to bring up public comment on specific items.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually really shocking to me that more people don't go. Unless a cop's getting a promotion, I don't hardly see anyone there that doesn't have to be there.
Yeah. Well, I think people tend to get very preoccupied with what they feel is most important, and sometimes people don't recognize the impact that things like city council meetings may have on their lives. They're focused on other things that are more immediate.
Well, here's one for you. They're trying to raise the local gas tax for here in Newport.
Are they?
They're already getting 30 cents. I think they're going to try to raise another 12 or 15.
Awesome.
Well, it should be coming up this summer. It's going to be an open ballot.
Still going to be cheaper than Portland. So
still going to be cheaper than Portland.
And what are they using the funds for?
Well, supposedly they're using the 30 cents a gallon that they get from every gas station in the city to improve streets.
Okay.
How many unpaved streets are there in Newport?
Well, I don't know.
A number?
There is a number.
A good number? How many potholes?
I would say there's probably more paved streets than unpaved streets.
Would you agree with that? There's more paved than unpaved. But I'm just saying, what was it? Probably roughly $1,000 a day from the one gas station that I can figure on. And it just doesn't seem like it's being allocated appropriately.
I gotcha. Well, again,
it's all public record if you can afford to have them get it out for you.
Yeah. Interesting. Is that what all the new taxes will be going to as well? Is that the plan?
Yeah. It was funny. In the city council meeting, they said it very specifically that we're going to have to hide this gas tax as a road improvement fund. They said it very specifically like that.
Interesting.
And isn't it, though?
You work for media?
No, I'm just a guy out with a camera. Here for citizen safety.
Access to internet?
I have access to internet, yeah.
Maybe do some sort of a article on the ins and outs of the city council meeting and bring awareness and see what people think.
It's an ongoing process. Like, I don't know. It's so it takes so long for that whole process to happen. Any one issue can take months to resolve.
Right.
You know, 30 minutes at a time.
230, that copy. Not a position. There, 06. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. You gotta do what you gotta do.
So it takes several months to resolve. You were saying?
Yeah. It can take several months to resolve even small issues.
Right.
So it's very hard to get a cohesive thing that you can present to the public. So, but it's in progress.
Very cool. Well, if you ever write it, I'd love to read it.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I've been blocking out the camera.
What's that?
I was talking to myself there.
Oh.
Commenting on my own handiwork here. Hop back over here for a second. Yep, I'm still here. Mind if I get your name?
What's that?
Mind if I get your name?
Deputy Cloud, just like in the sky.
Cloud, all right. Nice to meet you. I'm a skater guy.
Skater guy, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
What kind of skating? Like
Well, tonight it's the bike.
the bike? Like bicycle? Bike? Or...
No, motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Very cool.
Yeah.
Normally it's like
Skateboard.
Skateboard?
Yeah.
Rollerblades? Okay.
Yep.
You ever done like a Citizens Academy or something with Newport?
No, I have not.
Something you'd consider? I think I heard they were going to be doing another one.
Honestly, I'm good on that whole take of it.
Yeah?
Yep.
Might be kind of fun. Learn a thing or two about their job, and maybe you could teach them a thing or two about your perspective as a citizen in their town.
I'm going to stay on this side of the thin blue line to do it.
Well, I don't think there's a thin blue line, my man.
I think there's definitely a thin blue line of silence.
Well, I've been doing this for about 10 years, and I can tell you I don't think there's a thin blue line of silence. I don't think there's much of a thin blue line at all. There's shared experience because people work in the same job.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have that shared experience in many jobs, and I think even you look at all of the other thin lines that they're putting in flags these days, right? Everybody can kind of understand that shared experience.
I get the whole shared experience thing of it, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about specifically is your other deputy does something wrong. You don't write it in your report. I know it's happened. Maybe not you specifically, but I know it happens.
I think you'd be surprised at how often that doesn't happen. The cool thing about this job is everything, at least for the past, in this county, probably 5+ years, we've had cameras recording.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And I think that's
Our
great.
Interactions are recorded by us, our cars. We've had cameras and microphones in our cars for longer than we've had body cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And that's
We
great.
also
That's
have
great.
Other people.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever we do any action, it has to go to court.
Right.
And there's an opportunity then for an attorney who is on the opposite side of the police officer
Right.
to question them and look into every action that they took. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I don't think that happens as much as maybe you would believe, because there's always, if I write something in my report that is not true,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes to court, and it is determined that it's not true, I can no longer be a cop in the state of Oregon ever again.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? There's people don't risk their careers for other people like that, and at least that's my experience. And I don't know. I'm sure maybe.
Well, I'm
places-
glad that's your experience. And I will say the police around here are a lot better to deal with than a lot of that I have dealt with. You guys aren't the hoods up type.
Well, I don't know what that means.
Before there's body cams and you only got the car cams, you throw the hood up and you can't see what's going on. I've dealt with that.
Interesting. Where was that? Was that in Oregon?
Non-Oregon.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's. I mean, I don't come from Oregon. I'm from Texas, and I've never even heard of that in places like I used to live. So that must have been a pretty rough spot, wherever that was.
It happens.
Yeah.
It's not the only town it happens in.
Yeah.
I'm just one guy with multiple experiences.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And share those experiences. Bring awareness to stuff. If you have things that you can bring experience to, you know.
Yep.
But again, Skater Guy, it was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Cloud. Have a good night. Stay safe. Yep. Cheers.